Welcome back to Access Anime. My name is Henshin Ikeda, and so I'll be doing a walkthrough and review of One Piece episode 578. Now, if you remember from last episode, we see the Straw Hat Crew finally rescuing Panzerfry, so it was a long overdue rescue, that's all I can say. Now, moving on past that, we find out the Navy and the Neo Navy are left to fight and duke it out. Now, the end result being the Neo Navy was the clear-cut winner, but we don't get to see the fight, so we don't know if the Navy in general is dead, if they've been stranded. Yeah, we really don't know. The only thing we are certain of is the Neo Navy has won. And moving on past that, we are taken to a small little island and we see Chopper fixing up Panzerfry. Now, Panzerfry actually wants to say thank you to Luffy and cook for him. Sadly, Lily ate all the food, so there's nothing to cook with, or so we thought. Apparently, Lily is a thief, and she stole all this food from the Navy during the fight, so they actually have food to cook with. So, Luffy's all happy, and it looks like Panzerfry is about to cook for them. Now, we are taken to a different scene toward the end of the episode. We find out the Neo Navy has caught up with the Straw Hats. Now, you're wondering how. In last episode, if you were paying attention, we see Shizu putting something on the Thousand Sunny, and we don't know what, but it's a communicator or something, because we find out toward the end of that episode he's caught up with the Straw Hats in general, so he had to be tracking them in some shape or form. Just putting that out there. Now, we find out he doesn't have any torpedoes, so he can't sink the Thousand Sunny and kill, the Straw Hats. So sad, too bad. However, his crew, they want to self-sacrifice themselves? Kamikazes? Really? I didn't see that coming. Now, that is loyalty. So we're actually seeing the Neo Navy crew, because they're independently, they have all these subs. Random crew members are volunteering themselves to become man-made, or however you want to say, kamikazes, to take out the Thousand Sunny with the Straw Hat Crew. And again, that's where the episode ends. Now, I'll hold my final thoughts and my rating at the end of the clip, so stay tuned. But let's dive right in. Now, we open up this episode with the Straw Hats being attacked by the Neo Navy, all those little subs. So they're just attacking them one-on-one. They're kamikazes. That's what they are. Now, we do see Shizu's sub surface and then land on hard rock right in front of the Thousand Sunny. Now, we do find out how Shizu was actually tracking the Straw Hats in general. Apparently, he used a Vivre card to track the Straw Hats in general, so that makes sense. It really does. Now, moving on past that, in the background, we can still see the Neo Navy using those little subs as kamikazes to attempt to take out the Thousand Sunny. But it's not really working, so to me, it's a waste of life. Just putting that out there. Now, we do find out Frankie, I just wanted to mention this, Frankie is kind of like, why are you guys doing this? You guys are nuts. You guys are crazy. I'm like, that's the first thing I can agree with him on. Moving on past that, now we see Panzerfry. He sees Shizu, and he attacks him. Just out of the blue, we see Panzerfry attack Shizu. Now, sadly, we do see Shizu use his iron body, and he takes out Panzerfry, or at least, pushes him away. However, we see Lily, seeing her father take a hit like that, she jumps in and tries to attack Shizu. However, Shizu actually whacks Lily on the chest and pushes her away, and then of course we do see Lily shrinking down. Now, we are taken to a different scene, because we see Luffy jump right in and he stops Shizu. So this is the beginning of an interesting fight, in my opinion. So we see Luffy versus Shizu. It gets better. We see Luffy use jet Gatling on Shizu, so an amazing opener of attack. Now, moving on past that, we do see Shizu, and he's using finger pistol, and I was a little like, okay, finger pistol, what else you got? However, we see Luffy, he uses his jet whip. Perfect timing, that's all I can say. Of course, we see Shizu says something about using a shave or something as his next technique. I think I got it right. I think it's called something shave. And no, I wasn't liking it. So moving on past that, we do see Luffy use jet bazooka. I love watching him use jet bazooka. But moving on past that, we do see Shizu counter it with moonwalk just to avoid being hit in general. Now, I did find this kind of interesting, because we see a direct hit, and then we see Luffy using armament in retaliation. But it gets better. We hear pistol, but then all of a sudden, yeah, I know that I didn't like this part, because then we see Shizu using his iron body yet again. Him with this goddamn iron body. I mean, really? Is that his only move he goes as a backup, his iron frickin' body? But sorry, I digress. Moving on to the next scene. Now, we see Shizu. He's getting really cocky, and he's telling Luffy his hockey is actually not strong enough to even dent or phase him. I'm like, wow, someone is conceited. That's all I can say. But you know what? being a little conceited right now kind of works in, Luffy's advantage, because this is what, makes Luffy who he is. He loves being the underdog. That's who he is. But sorry, I digress. Moving on, we do see Luffy use third gear, finally. However, he's being fired upon by this beast that's on, well, part of Shaizu's crew. So Luffy's been hit just before he was about to go into his third gear. Now we find out, apparently this beast, he was using a hockey-wrapped bombshell. And just the sound of that sounds amazing in my... yeah, it does. It sounds amazing. A hockey-wrapped bombshell. Really? I love the sound of that. But moving on, we do find out this beast that's part of the Neo Navy that I guess works right underneath Shaizu. He's a beast cannon Al Pacino. So I was like, okay, now we know what its name is. It's called a beast cannon Al Pacino. But what is it? It's a bazooka who ate devil fruit. But it looks like a llama. I'm just putting that out there. It looks like a freaking llama. Now moving on to the next scene, we see Shaizu, and he's using his finger pistol 5 on Luffy. I'm like, how many freaking finger pistols do you got, man? I mean, okay, we got pistol, now you got a finger pistol 5. I'm going with it. But he does attack Luffy yet again, and it's a direct hit. And he's getting cocky again. I was okay the first time, second time, third time, seriously, you're going to be even more cockier? Okay, you'll get your just dessert later on, trust me. But moving on to the next scene, we do see, of course, Shaizu shoot Panzerfry. And I didn't really like that scene so much, so moving on. Now we are taken to a different scene with Lily and Usopp. Now Lily's trying to convince Usopp to shoot her. She'll shrink down to like an ant, and he'll use his slingshot to literally throw herself at, Shaizu in general, and then she'll enlarge herself, she'll become a giant and take him out all at once. So it sounds like a soundproof plan, except when Usopp, uses his slingshot, Luffy's on the receiving end and ends up eating her. So Lily has been eaten by Luffy. I was like, what? That can't be healthy. No, that can't be healthy. Now, of course, we are taken to a different scene with Luffy, and it looks like he's down from the count because he got his ass handed to him by Shaizu in general. But he's not. In fact, he says, this is what Luffy says, not yet. That's what Luffy says. He's like, not yet. I'm not out for the count. And Lily starts to expand inside Luffy, and Luffy becomes a giant. So I was like, sweet. This just got better. No, it gets better. We're taking to a different scene with Shaizu, and he's trying to attack Luffy with the same attacks he's been using, but they're failing. And it's amazing. And yet again, he's getting more conceited and cocky, saying, yeah, just beginner's luck, You're just a giant, you're still the same person. And you're like, nope. We see Luffy use second gear. That's right. And then giant jet. And it's amazing to see all the steam coming out of Luffy, and it's amazing. However, we do see Shaizu use his finger pistol 10. Seriously? How many freaking... Are you going by fingers here? Okay, you got 10 fingers. Got none left, man. This is your last move. In fact, it is. In fact, we see Shaizu use his finger pistol 10, and that's it. We see Luffy, and he uses spear. And it's amazing. That's all I can say. And Shaizu's done. He is down for the count. Of course, we do see Luffy and Lily go back to their normal size, and they're patting each other on the back for a job well done. And we see something that looks like a Viv card go right in front of it's like a little piece of paper. It's called Viv. It's a Viv card. That's how Shaizu was actually tracking the Thousand Sunny and the Straw Hat crew, just floating around, and it lands on Shaizu. And again, he's been defeated, and he's also been tied up on a rock. I just thought I'd mention that. Now, he's been defeated, and that's it. So taken to a different scene, of course, because everyone's hungry. So we are taken to a different scene because I believe the Thousand Sunny, the Straw Hat crew have left the island, leaving Shaizu tied up to a rock with the Viv card like not that far from him. And we see the Vice Admiral appear. Momiji, guess what? He's alive. I think he was playing dead or something, but it was just amazing. But he does, in fact, he arrests Shaizu. I'm like, it's about time. Now we find out Shaizu, he wasn't really tracking Shaizu. I mean, the Vice Admiral wasn't tracking, Shaizu. In fact, we find out the Vice Admiral put a Viv card inside Panzerfry. So that little piece of paper we saw floating out land on Shaizu was what the Vice Admiral kind of implanted in Panzerfry. So ironic how things work out. Just thought I'd mention that. But again, we do find out Shaizu is going to be arrested and taken to Impel Down, even though he pleaded to be killed or whatnot. No, the Vice Admiral said, you know what? you're going to impale down. And that's where that scene ends. Moving on to the next scene, we see Panzerfry, the Straw Hat crew, everyone eating. So we see Panzerfry finally cooking on top of that volcano, and everyone's having their just dessert. Like I said, they're eating everything, and it's an amazing cutscene. We see music, we hear music, we see everyone having a good time, and you know, it was well worth watching. I love that scene in my opinion. Of course, after they're done eating, they say their goodbyes. We see Lily as well as Panzerfry departing, going their way and saying goodbye to, you know, the Straw Hats and, you know, the Thousand Sunny in general. And it was a touching scene. Now moving on past that, toward the end of the episode, we're finally introduced to Master Z. All I can say is it's about time. Now apparently Master Z just got wind of what happened to Shizu in general. And he's not happy, but he's very confident that his crew, even though they're being taken to impale down, will not say anything. He has that much confidence in them. But you know, that's to each their own, that's all I can say. Now we do find out that Master Z's heading to another island, which we don't know what it is yet, but he has business on another island. And again, that's where the episode ends. Final thoughts? First of all, what island is Master Z heading to and for what reason? We don't know. Now moving on past that, is Master Z going to actually save Shizu, or is he going to let Shizu rot in jail, or is he going to kill Shizu first chance he gets? We don't know. We really don't know. But I want to take a shot out in the dark. I think he's going to let him rot, because, I mean, he's got nothing better to do. And to be honest, Shizu, not really my favorite character. It's not my cup of tea. So I wouldn't even save him. However, his crew was definitely loyal. I would probably save his crew. Yeah, so his crew, I would probably save. And I'll throw in one more final thought. Is Smoker going to be introduced in next episode? I can't wait to see him, because I know he was technically right above the same surface as where Luffy was at when they were at Fisherman Island. So I was like, come on, where's Smoker? That's what we're waiting for. But again, that is it for my final thoughts. As per my rating, 4 out of 5. I had to give this a 4 out of 5 instead of a 3.5 out of 5 because we saw an amazing fight scene. Regardless of everything that happened throughout this episode, it was a great fight scene. I loved it. It wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst. It was definitely there, and it hit everything on the mark. So I have to give this a 4 out of 5 for that. Again, there wasn't a lot of information being thrown at us, so couldn't give a lot of credit there. Was there a lot of drama or emotion? Kind of. I mean, we see the Straw Hat crew, Panzerfry, and Lily having a good time. That kind of counts. So, again, final rating, 4 out of 5. But again, that ends it for my walkthrough and review of One Piece episode 578. But definitely comment down below, let me know, thumbs up, thumb down, and definitely subscribe. Check me out on Twitter and follow me if you want. But again, guys, definitely let me know what you thought of this episode, and let me know what you think is going to happen in the next episode coming out. Again, guys, that ends it for now, but definitely stay tuned for later. I've got 2 more walkthroughs and reviews to do today, so don't go anywhere. But guys, I gotta hit the bricks, I gotta go, and before I go, I gotta say it, and I always say it. You can't stop the access, but you can watch the feed. I'll see you later, guys.